What's up, guys? It's your host, Spartanic Arts DxD, back with another high school DxD related video. And today we have What If Issei Was Deceived, Part 4. Let's try to hit 400 to 500 likes for this video. That'd be absolutely amazing. And if you guys want to know exactly when I upload, / my upload schedule, click the little blue button right next to the subscribe button. Okay, sorry, I had to take like a deep breath there. Seriously, guys, thanks for the support. I hope you guys have been liking this series, and let me ask you this. So, one of the people in my comments, his name is Naruto, he said he wanted to ask if a classroom of the elite what if would be on the table, you know, Ayana Koji, and what would you want it to be about? Like, what would the story be? Because obviously getting betrayed really isn't in the books for that man, so if you've watched the series. But yeah, I mean, just let me know what type of story line that you would like to follow with that. But yeah, thank you so much for the support once again. Yeah, I've been doing a lot of reaction content over on Palpowski and on my Patreon. So if you guys want to check out that content, go ahead and subscribe over there. We just hit 70K, obviously big numbers. We're already at 71,000, kind of crazy. But yeah, so let's go ahead and thank my balance breakers and Juggernaut Drive members. Aunt Lewis, Lachlan Yates. The blue names, once again, are Juggernaut Drive members. That's the highest membership tier. Jordan Patchow, Night Ammo, Refeek 135, Ryan Monk, John Bain, Keep Saying 21, Undefined Truth, VR Wolf, Dark Phoenix, Zeke 2000, Shen Beyond, Chaotic Raven, Jeffrey, Notatrax, Dr_MG_ as the bomb, Grimfire Shot Gamer, Jerry Vibes, Source Sponder, Rob the King, and Zero Fusion. Thank you so much for becoming a Balance Breaker Satch Juggernaut Drive member. I cannot appreciate you guys enough. And obviously, if you guys want to see me react to High School DxD Episode 4, Episode 5, whatever I'm on now, let's go ahead and go over to my Patreon and hit the sub button. You know what I mean? And thank you to my Patreon members: David Tanner, Ryuga, Lachlan Yates, The Black Dragon Emperor, Brandon Dawson, Stripelanger, Mike Bacon, Sharklock, Jay Dawson, Kefir Windsor, and God Killer. Thank you so much for becoming a Patreon member. Seriously, can't thank you guys enough for the support. Once again, let me know about the Classroom of the Elite What If. Along those with, just drop what if ideas. What if Goku was in High School DxD? Once again, is being worked on. I'm just doing things with it, so don't worry about it. That actually is in progress. So thank you so much for the support, ladies and gentlemen. Let's hit the like button. I know you're literally in the premiere. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and get into Part 4. Chapter 12. Wake Up. Now we're in Issei's dream. I did it again, the girl saying to herself. Issei in his head, what's happening? He's seeing all these things. No matter how hard I try to avoid it, it always ends up like this, the girl says. Who is that? Is he dead? Issei says. Maybe he was right. I'm just a monster hiding behind a mask. What have I done? No, you're not a monster. Who is that? Did he make you kill that man? Issei says. Issei saw the woman's appearance change slowly. Her soft skin was pale as ash and her eyes turned red. No, 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 Issei says. He saw a mask manifest on her face. Horns grew on her head, her tails disappeared, while her arms turned into blades. Why? Why is this happening to you? Issei says. Issei then saw nothing but a pitch black. How could something so beautiful become that thing? And why? Issei says. He then saw an image of Rias flash in front of him. He started to get angry, heartbeat rising. He saw this right in front of him. What the? Issei says. It latched onto him and started to grow once more. Issei screamed at his chest and pain increased. His anger rose considerably. Issei tried to get it off, but it's too fluid like to get actual grip on it. Issei then grew his hair longer. His body turned white and has black markings on his chest. Horns grew on his head. His fingers turned into black claws. He was trying so hard to control himself that a voice told him to destroy. Stop it! Get off me! Issei says. Issei started calming his body. Every time he ripped off some of the white substance, it would just grow back. He felt himself losing to the mask. Stop! Issei says. Issei, a voice called out to him. Wake up! It was a feminine voice. He saw a woman appear once more. He couldn't help but feel happy to see her. Please tell me, who are you and why do I feel so compelled to find you? Issei said. She just smiled and said, time to wake up. No, wait, she didn't let him finish as the two fox spirits around her surrounded him and started to glow brighter and brighter. It became a bright flash and everything went black. His eyes started to hurt and slowly opened them. He saw them semi-bright, light above him. A voice spoke. You scared me, the person said. God? Issei replied. Ha! No, it's me, kiddo. Huh? Azazel? Issei says. Bingo, you were out like a light. Speaking of which, please turn off that light. It's hurting my eyes, Issei says. Azazel turns off the light and opens a window. The full moon was beautiful. Thanks, it's already helping. You were out for a while. How long? Half a month. You were in a comatose, Azazel says. What? You were in a coma for 2 weeks, Azazel says. Issei sat up on his bed. How did that happen? It was my fault. You showed me what happened to you after you put on the mask. I let my curiosity get the better of me and asked you to put it on again so soon. I put you in harm's way, Azazel said. Don't blame yourself. I would have done it again anyway, Issei says. What? I wanted to see her again. The woman, Azazel says? Yeah, still don't know why. We'll find answers in due time, but how are you feeling right now? I feel weak, but otherwise, I'm okay, all things considered. I'll tell them that you're awake once you're up to speed, Azazel says. Thanks. Where's the mask? Did anyone see it? It's too late for that. What do you mean? While you were out, I kept the mask in a container in the safe behind that painting. He pointed towards the painting. I fell asleep and heard a loud bang. I opened my eyes and saw the painting on the floor and the hole through the safe. I looked towards you still comatose with your mask on your face. It wasn't growing out, instead it began to evaporate within seconds. Issei just stood there silent. Before, you were having a fever of 102 degrees, shivering, pale as ash, coughing, and having trouble breathing. Your blood pressure was jumping between high and low. How much, you ask? Imagine taking Xanax, weed, crack, and cocaine at the same time. It took our best medical team to stabilize you, but none of us could figure out how to cure you. Did Sir Zex and Grafia see me that way? Issei said. Unfortunately, yes, Azazel replied. Fuck, Issei said. It gets worse. What? Your chest had a black spot in the size of a baseball. The affected area started to cave in. Your body temperature was started to fluctuate from 102 degrees to 30 degrees Fahrenheit. We had to bring a lot of Phoenix tears too. Who brought the Phoenix tears? Ravel brought them personally. I really wish no one saw me like that, Issei says. It was inevitable. When large amount of Phoenix tears are ordered in an emergency, 1 or 2 members of the Phoenix clan personally see the delivery. Sir Zex, Grafia, and Ravel. They were so horrified at the sight of you, they begged me for answers. What did you tell them? Issei says. I told them that the creature bit you, and like a vampire it was turning into what it was. Which might not be far from the truth. The Phoenix tears healed you slowly. After the black spot disappeared, you started to recover. Your fever broke, your skin color returned to normal, but there were some changes still. What kind? Issei says. We did all kinds of tests. MRI, DNA, you name it. When we sedated you from the MRI, we saw your emotions in the state of a flux. And it was like that for a whole time you were out. If you weren't in a coma, then it wouldn't have affected the boosted gear. As for the DNA test... Come on, you're killing me with the suspense, Issei says. The DNA tested that you're now only 10% devil, 40% dragon, and other 50%, well... There is none. The machines couldn't scale anything after halfway through. We used every DNA test machine, and all show the same results. How the hell do I not have half my DNA? Issei says. Cause that thing merged with you, Azazel replied. What? Yes, it's merged with you. That's why the mask disappeared. So what am I? We should ask the woman once we find her. But we don't tell anyone about her until we get some answers. I need to know who or what she is, Issei says. After what she did to you? Yeah, I'm not completely cold-hearted, Issei said. I'm worried about you turning into that thing, Azazel replied. Then I know you guys can stop me. Azazel sat there in silence. How did Sir Zex and Grafia know about me and my current condition? Well, after a day you slipped into your coma, they went to your place to visit you and see if they didn't cause more damage. They couldn't find you, so Rosvice had told them that you're with me, and they rushed over here, and their timing was horrible. They saw you in that state, Azazel says. Issei replied. But on the bright side, your parents nearly pissed themselves when they finally saw Sir Zex, not as Rias' brother, but the freaking Devil King. Rosvice had to leave the room because she had trouble holding in her laughter. Never expected that from her. Wait, does she or the others know about me being out cold for 2 weeks? Yes, I told her, but only her. I didn't tell her about you being sick and turning halfway into that thing, Azazel said. I should so visit her, Issei said. Issei making the others train super hard for the raiding game. Oh. That's right, we have a rating game in 2 weeks, Issei said. Bad idea. You need to rest and we need to get answers. I can't. I promised him a fight and I won't go back on my word. Issei says, we can delay the match. No, don't cause so much trouble just because of me. Still selfless even after everything you went through. I made a promise to myself years ago, and that is I refuse to just be like everybody else, Issei says. Admirable, kid, but we don't know that what will happen if you fight. We still need to do more tests now that you're awake. We don't know if you actually stop that thing from taking over. It's almost like a parasite, Azazel says. If I go back on my word, then I'll just insult Sarah Orc. I can't believe knowing I did such a cruel thing. Issei said, well then, if anything bad happens, can we intervene? Got it? Deal. I'll meet you halfway. Let's get something to eat first. You got skinnier. The both had dinner together, so Zex, Gravia, Ravel, and Rosvisa came to visit him. Drake woke up as well. You really had us worried, Rosvisa said. Good to see you're awake, partner, Drake said. Sorry, and thanks everyone for the support. I already feel better because of it. Are we going to ignore the main issues, Grafia said. Not at all. Issei, I know you just recently woke up and all, but we need answers about that stray and to your circumstances behind you being in a coma, Zex says. I understand. Well, that stray was not a stray at all, but a creature from a different universe, we believe, Issei says. Meaning? Grafia replied. According to the DNA test, there's no being in our universe with that DNA. It can't even be scanned with advanced technology of the underworld. What did it look like? Ravel said. Issei begins to describe it and how he beat it, how he was bitten but didn't mention that it was turned into a woman that he saw at times. The doctor started doing different tests and came out with a few conclusions. Issei won't live past the age of 26. He lost more than half his life force by his emotional state, which made it easier for that thing to take it over, but it wouldn't have taken over completely if the dragon's power released from the gear didn't keep it at bay. He'll need more phoenix tears and medicine to keep that thing from taking over. He was somehow stronger and faster along with increased magical reserves, but that's the least of their concerns. Issei and the others are devastated. Ravel went back home and so did Rosvisa, each crying in their rooms alone. The members of each household heard them crying and asked why they were crying, but they couldn't tell them. So Zex and Grafia had to go back and tell the Devil Kings. They swore to secrecy, but they were too devastated by the news. Issei was discharged and stayed with Azazel. He didn't want to go back to the others. How are you holding up? Azazel said. Okay, so far, Issei replied. Issei grabs a few beers and hands 2 to Azazel. Thanks. No prob. Hey, do you have a training field here? Nope, the best place is under your house, but you want to train right now. Azazel says, I don't have much time left, so might as well make the best of it. Issei, I know you're just saying that to distract yourself. I want to live, Azazel-sensei. Before I didn't, but now I do. I want to find her, Issei says. What do you mean you didn't want to live before? After what happened in the club room, I was trying to get drunk enough to wipe out my memory of that day. What? Azazel said. I know I look like a coward right now, but if it wasn't for you, I would be dead right now. But at least I know how much time I have, Issei says. Fucking hell. Wait, we can recover your life force using Konako's help, like before. Azazel, it was barely working in the first place, Drake said. Then let's use bedroom arts, Azazel replied. I'm not doing that with Konako, and that's final. I'm not a scumbag who will use her for her benefit. Look, I get that, but she'll be more than willing to do it, Azazel says. I know, but I cannot bring myself to do that, Issei said. We need to find that woman. She lived after turning into that thing. She can help. Give me her description. She's my height, golden eyes, snow white tails, cream-colored skin, hair as black as obsidian. It reaches down to her lower back and 3 whisker marks on her cheeks. Her face cheeks or butt cheeks, Azazel said. Face. And if you look at her butt, then I'll enjoy telling everyone that you stopped me from loving boobs. The whole underworld will hate you for knowing what they beloved grab and dragging. You're bluffing, right, Trey? Azazel, he's mostly serious. Don't cockblock me, Issei, Azazel replied. You can have any woman except for her. There's billions out there in the human world alone. Good point, Azazel says. Perv. So I'm going to regain my strength for the fight. I just remembered. I'll be in charge of commentary. Then I have a request. Name it. There's a song that would suit the fight. Send the name O in Issei. Yes? How will you explain your new appearance? Issei looks in the mirror. I'll just use some makeup or something. Wow, my hair got really long and 0.5 months. I need a new look, Issei said. Alright, kid, you're welcome here anytime to just drop by. Issei tried to create a teleportation circle and success. He made one that goes through. He arrives back in Ko, and for the first thing he does is go home. It's midday and Thursday. Everyone is in class. Mom and Dad probably aren't home. Perfect, Issei says. He enters his home, goes to a room, takes a bath, changes his clothes, grabs some of the fresh cash he made, and saw that his collection wasn't there. There aren't even Ain't he here? Did they piss me off? I can't have shit in this house. Ugh, Issei said. He left a note saying, return my collection ASAP. Issei. With that, he left, but not before using his magic to change his appearance. It worked on his first try. Huh, neat. It's easier than I thought. Why'd they take the man's knife collection away is the real question. That's the end of chapter 12. Now we will continue with chapter 13, Who Will End It? Ooh. After Issei got a haircut, he felt good. The twin tails in the back of his neck were gone. His hair was shorter now, but very stylish. He brought some new clothes and became eye candy for some girls, but he paid no attention to them. He went back to train for the match. Once he got home, he put his stuff away and went to the training field. You ready, Dreg? Yes. You okay? Just thinking about what that thing was before it turned you into that woman and how it merged with you, Drake said. I blame myself. I didn't put the mask on. Why did you do that? And why didn't it latch onto Azazel? Drake said. Not sure why it only latched onto me, but that night I felt it calling out to me. It wasn't malicious or anything, but it felt lonely. I felt her presence, but I still want to know why. Why do I feel so connected to her? Issei says. And I want to know how I couldn't feel her presence even when she was right in front of us. She's no astral projection or spirit, that's for sure, Drake said. I saw a bit of her pass when I was unconscious. There was a dead man lying next to her on the grass. I saw what I think his life force and swirling around here. I saw her here crying as if it was something she experienced before, and it hurts her to hear it more each time. Issei, Drake said. Then I saw a figure wearing black armor. His head was a skull, and it had green flames surrounding it. Issei, Drake said. What? Issei replied, I didn't see any of that or anything else in your dreamscape ever since she came along. I could always see into that since you awakened me, but this time I couldn't see her and you wouldn't respond. Wait, what? Partner, I feel that the so-called connection may be a curse or spell of sorts, Drake said. Explain. She's not from our universe. She's clearly a powerful being and a shapeshifter. What if it's like a succubus? You get charmed and they suck you away your life force and her method is different, Drake says. Then what about her visions of her? The connection, Issei said? She might try to be using that to make you look for her. Moth to a flame metaphor comes to mind. Drake. I don't believe that. I can't believe that, Issei says. I'm just saying that it's a theory. She didn't want you to leave your side, knowing that you were everyone else that could have ended her life. She healed your shoulder as much as she could, Drake said. What if that's part of her plan? What if she's using me just like her, making me think and feel like she's someone I love? What if... Issei says, I'm sorry, I should have kept my mouth shut. Drake says, no, I'm glad you shared that with me. It's my curse that I end up being used one way or another by a woman. Me and my stupid attraction towards them gets me in trouble or killed, and now I have less than a decade, Issei says. Drake was silent. She's out there, doing who knows what. How much blood is on my hands because I let her go, Issei says. Don't blame yourself. There's no way you could have known. I didn't know either, Drake said. I have to find her and stop her if your theory is true. And if the connection is real... Don't do that. Don't give me hope. Right now, I know that's what you need. If the connection is real, then I'll make things more difficult. It'll be dead. I'll be dead in about 8 years, and she'll be alone again. She should have said this connection was someone who can live a full lifetime with her. I'm just a dead man walking, Issei says. We'll find a way to fix this. We have time. Don't jinx it, Trey. That's been done a few times already. The dividing gear, Juggernaut Drive, and now this. Hey, I have an idea. What if I divide out of existence? It's merged with you. If you try that, then you'll rip your body apart. Then I better use it as a last resort in case it manifests like my dream. Issei says, what? Oh, right. After I saw what I think was her past memories, I saw the mask grow on my entire body. I was turning into that thing. What if it's not her who's doing this, but the thing itself? It's the curse. She may be a victim, Drake said. Maybe. Let's train for now. You need to get stronger, just in case Cyroorg won't underestimate you like one of your foes, Drake says. Which is why I can't hold back. But he's in for a surprise or two. Not only do you have promotions, but that thing made you stronger and faster as well. You might almost at his level without Balance Breaker, Drake says. That thing was ultimate class. If I turned into that combined with the boosted gear. Oh no, he fell to his knees in fear. Your power may rival Great Red and Orphis one day, Treg said. Issei takes out Ascalon and points it towards his chest. Issei, what are you doing? Issei was breathing heavily. His hands were shaking. Drake, I'll be a monster. All that power will be a threat to existence itself. I can't even imagine having such power, let alone controlling it. I should just end it. Issei, stop! We'll find a way. You're not the type to become corrupt with power, Drake says. This is the quickest way, and surefire to stop me from hurting anyone, Issei says. He closed his eyes and held the tip of the blade to his neck. Issei tried to steady the blade, but his hands were trembling. Drake flared his aura so much that the whole neighborhood started to shake and the temperature increased a little. The others felt this and knew that it was Drake calling them for help. Drake saw that Issei was becoming suicidal with the mask started to appear on his face and started to grow all over him. Some black and red energy was being released. He let out a roar that even sent chills up Drake's metaphysical spine. Issei stabbed Ascalon into the ground and started to rip off the mask, only find it grow back. Drake called out to him, but Issei couldn't hear him. He only heard one voice. Don't do it, please. Who are you and what are you? Issei says. Accept it. Accept me as I accept you, the woman says. Stop hiding and face me, Issei replied. Forgive me, Issei, the woman says. How do you know my name? What is this thing? We are connected. Don't fight it. Accept it as it is now you. What does that mean? What am I? You are my other half. With her voice became silence. No, wait. Come back, Issei says. Issei couldn't hear her voice anymore. He could feel that thing take over. He opened his eyes and saw Drake releasing his power to keep that thing from taking over. Drake was releasing some of that energy straight into his body. Issei felt it and was becoming more dragon. Like scales began to grow on his limbs. He felt a sharp pinch in his neck. The mask broke off of him and Drake stopped releasing his energy. Issei looked around and saw Kiba holding a syringe. He saw everyone else looking at him. They were crying. He didn't like seeing them like that, especially how his parents were afraid of him. His parents could only stand there helplessly. Guys, Issei said. He collapsed on the ground but didn't lose consciousness. Kiba helped him up, followed by Issei. Issei recovered after a few seconds and managed to stand up on his own. Are you feeling better? Issei took a few steps towards the answer because he wasn't sure. Was he? Issei didn't feel suicidal once he came to his senses. Yeah, I think so. What did you inject me with? The medicine Azazel sent. Issei, what's happening to you? I wish I knew. Issei, we haven't seen you in 2 weeks. Issei knows but won't tell us. She came back crying yesterday and a few times before that. Please talk to us. Issei was just silent. Issei, just tell them, Issei says. Okay, fine. That thing bit me. It merged with me. As to know how and why, I have no clue. Nor does Azazel or the doctors. We have a theory that it might not even be from our universe. They all gasped. We think that after it bit me, it started to turn me into whatever it was before I put it down. Issei says, like a vampire? Jasper replied. Maybe, and we're not even sure if it's even biological. Looked very much biological. It was taking over as if it knew what it was doing, Akeno said. Yeah, I didn't feel if I had consciousness. Even the best tech couldn't pick up any DNA other than devil and dragon DNA. I'm 10% devil, 40% dragon, and this thing is the other 50%. It's like half of me was bleached, Issei said. And this medicine is to prevent you from taking it over, isn't it? Yeah, Issei says. What else did the doctor tell you? There's nothing else. That was it. Bullshit. We know there's some more, Rias said. If it takes over, then you have my blessings to end my life before I end yours or those around me, Issei said. We won't do that, Rias said. This time I'm asking you to rip out my heart. It'll be easier the second time, Issei says. They all went silent. One could almost hear the heart breaking. After a few minutes, he continued. If this thing takes over, it'll have access to the boosted gear. It alone is ultimate class. You can only try to imagine the damage, or should I say I could do, Issei says. They all took a few seconds to imagine. They were horrified at the possible outcome. Konako says, it might make Great Red and Orphis to stop me. I don't want that to happen, so there's one thing I ask of you. Do the right thing, for once, Issei says. But, Azia said, no buts. Do you really want to risk the lives of everyone in favor of mine? If I killed anyone who didn't deserve it, then blood will be on my hands. I can't live knowing that I did that if the time comes, Issei said. Razvaisa started to cry a little. This caught the attention of the others, and her sobbing was the kind that you see after a heartbreaking that death is coming. Issei, there's still more you're not telling us. What are you hiding? Akeno says. There's a slim chance that it might not take over as long as the medicine works. If it stops working, then you know what to do, Issei says. And if we can't, Rias says, you're right. None of you could stop me if I did lose control. Maybe Volley will be willing to do the deed. Yep, he'll kill me first chance he gets once it happens. He'll go from the terrorist to a hero right then and there, but at least you guys will be safe. I'm a free devil now, so you won't have to bear the responsibility of a rogue pawn, Rias, Issei says. He picks up Ascalon and just looks at it. This reminds me, where's my knife collection? Issei says. Everyone says at the same time, what? My knife collection is missing. Where is it? Issei says. We hid them. We thought you were going to kill yourself. You cut yourself so many times, Rias said. If I wanted to kill myself, then I would have done it the day you ripped my heart into pieces. If Azazel didn't show up, then I would have used Ascalon to end my life. I nearly did it again just moments ago before you all showed up. The only reason I didn't do it is because I have a promise to keep Syra Org, and I keep hearing that voice, Issei says. A voice? Yeah. Whose voice do you hear? Azia says, not sure. Is it Rainair? Issei looked at him deadpan. Thanks for reminding me of that bitch, Issei says. Sorry, then shut up and start training. I'm not the only one fighting Syra Org, Issei says. He pointed Ascalon towards Kiba. Same to you, Rias and your Parage. All of you come at me together, Issei says. What? Why? I'm almost at his level. You guys need to practice. You're gonna either take my parents away from the field or put up a barrier. His parents came forward. We're not leaving. I want to see the kind of man you become. They all told us the truth, Mickey said. Issei, we're sorry for how we treated you. You never tried to see what you were going through. Let us see for ourselves the fruits of your labor, Oguro says. So be it. Irina, barriers, Issei said. Right, sure. She created a strong barrier, but Issei decided to create several more around them just in case. Issei, when you were able to use magic as powerful as that, Akeno said, since yesterday. Now come at me. No balance breaker, Zenobia says? I want to test my raw strength. Bring it. Everyone charged him. His parents were afraid that he might get hurt. Kiba, Zenobia, Irina had swords in hands. Akeno prepared her dragon lightning. Rias fired off a power of destruction. Rasvaisa used multiple elemental spells such as light, ice, fire, earth, etc. Issei disarmed Zenobia, broke Kiba's sword, and sent Irina's light flying sword flipping through the air. Dodged Rias' and Akeno's attack, and Rasvaisa's attacks made contact, but they had no effect. That was pathetic. Stop holding back. You too, Gasper. Don't hide anymore. You have power to use, Issei said. Gasper was in awe after he saw Issei stop and avoid their attacks so easily without laying a finger on them. He regained his composure and saw that Issei wasn't using his sacred gear. Gasper tried to freeze time, but as soon as he accused his sacred gear, Issei disappeared from sight. Huh? You can stop time, but too slow to do so, Issei says. Gasper heard a voice from behind him. He looked in beside Issei towering over him. He's not used to seeing Issei in this form. Pale, scales on his arms, fangs, golden eyes that radiated killing intent. Not the kindness that they once held. Gasper just looked down. Gasper, Issei says. He didn't look up. Maybe speed isn't your thing yet. I have an idea. Vampires have super strength, right? Gasper nodded. If they become stronger when they drink human blood or of the other creatures, correct? He nodded again. You have human blood in your veins with vampire strength. Let that flow. Don't hold back. But I'm too small to possess such strength. I don't even know if it's possible. Looks can be deceiving. Konako proved that every time I sparred with her. I live to tell the tales. I can tell what you can throw at me, Issei says. Oh, okay, dig deep inside. Think of your body as one of kind of sacred gear. Everyone is happy at the sight. Despite the bad blood, Issei is helping Gasper become stronger. Gasper closes his eyes and concentrates. He feels his blood pumping through his veins. He feels power. His muscle tone increased. Issei took notice. He promoted to a rook, entered his balance breaker. As soon as he crossed his arms, Gasper opened his eyes and threw a punch. Issei took a direct hit and was pushed back a few meters. The armor on his arm started to crack and a few pieces fell off. Well done. I'm proud of you, Issei says. Thanks, big brother, Gasper replied. Glad I could help. Now, all of you together, Issei says. Right. They all got serious and didn't hold back. They attacked with everything when they're in sync. Now that they're in perfect sync, what brought about this sudden change, Issei thought in his head. 'Cause you're back and acting like your old self, training together like you said before. You can see them smiling, Drake said. He saw them smile like fools. Kiba created plenty of throwing knives and aimed at his weak spots in the armor. He must have my collection. I had throwing knives in there, and he must have copied or from a long-range attack. Not bad, Kiba, Issei said. Gasper and Konako used their strength and small size to their advantage. Their small size made them difficult to catch, and their strength combined was doing some damage. His armor was falling apart. Irina and Zenobia used their Excalibur and Durandal to set waves of light-based attack. Issei countered with dragon shots. The dust covered the field. Akeno, Rias, Rasvaisa used their magic to send a massive barrage of attacks. Issei didn't was coming and was hit. He hit the wall behind him and his armor broke apart. Rosvaisa used a wind spell and cleared the dust. They also let Issei sitting on the ground taking deep breaths. Well done, Issei says. Everyone else was breathing heavily. They really didn't hold back. Issei got up and said, enough for today. Oh, and Kiba, I know you have my collection. What gave it away? Kiba said. Those throwing daggers. They are the exact copy of those in my collection. Rosvaisa may love knives as much as I, but I bet she wouldn't take them without asking. The rest of you don't like blades as much as do I know. I would be pissed off if you got rid of them and now hand it over, Issei says. Oh, you're good, Kiba said. Us dragons love our treasure. Anyone who takes it usually gets death, but I'm too tired to deal with all that. Right, I'll put them in your room right away, Kiba said. Wise choice, and I don't want a single knife missing. Are we clear? Issei takes out one knife, still had from his pocket. As we held it in his claw, and as everyone saw something above Issei for a second. They all lost their smiles and backed away from their legs shaking. Huh? You guys okay? Issei said. Everyone looked slowly while sweating bullets. Okay, I'm gonna go get something to eat, so see ya, Issei said. He leaves and his parents stayed with the others. They didn't see what Rias and her team saw. Are you alright? Miki said. We're fine, but that face, we saw it only for a second, Gasper said. Yeah, it felt like hours, Irina replied. But it was just Issei, Goro said. And something else, Rias said. Issei went to the kitchen. As he was eating, Drake spoke up. You helped Gasper today, Drake said. He needs to survive. He called you big brother and you didn't snap. It would have been messed with his training, Issei said. Issei, I want to apologize. You nearly killed yourself after I spoke. I hope you can forgive me. Drake, thank you, Issei says. Drake was surprised. You're right. What if she does? Is it you described her? It would have been too much trouble and a heartache. She showed up out of the blue and did some damage like Rainier and Rias. I also noticed that I want to be loved and loved too much far too quickly. I really need to get over it, Issei says. But when you do love, you give it as much as you believe that they deserve, a rare and amazing quality. Don't throw it away, Issei, Drake says. Alright, I won't, Issei replied. What about? You said regarding asking Volley to take your life, Drake said. Oh, I won't just let him kill me. I'll fight till the end. If he does kill me, then it'll go be on my terms, so it's not a complete defeat, Issei says. If he realizes that you used him, Drake said, like Riser, his pride goes out the window and shatters on the ground. He'll die inside, Drake said. He's all bark, but can bite through still mostly bark. He'll be mostly dead inside. The next Red Dragon Emperor won't be troubled by him, and you can take him down. That's a really messed up plan, Drake says. But effective, Issei replied. And that was the end of Chapter 13. Now, Chapter 14. The First Laugh. Sorry, this water be hitting sometimes, you know what I'm saying? For the remaining 2 weeks, Issei trained with his former team. Gasper got stronger and faster than the others. Kiba and Zenobia used Issei's weights to train like he did. Kiba returned to Issei's blades immediately after the incident. Today is the last day of training. Last day, use it to rest up. Tomorrow we'll make the last 2 weeks look like child's play, Issei said. We're making progress, Zenobia said. You'll be too tired to fight tomorrow. If you keep pushing yourself, you'll be sitting ducks, Issei said. But I didn't get stronger, Ozzy replied. You got better at using your sacred gear, Issei said. Issei clenched his chest, and his claws turned black. Rias was about to say something, but Issei quickly took out a syringe from his pocket, and he summoned the boosted gear and boosted twice. Issei, where are you going? Rosvaisa said. He transferred the boosted power into the syringe. It was also glowing, and Issei injected it into his arm. He sat down and saw his claws become normal. His pale skin got its natural pigment again. Are you okay, Issei? Rias says. Yeah, I'm fine now. Issei, that's the second time you've used your meds today. You usually have to use it once it flared up. It's becoming more frequent. The timing is random. The next time it could happen days or months or now or 10 seconds. At times I can suppress at will, but not always. It's getting cold in here? Issei said, everyone looking in the room. No, it's 30 degrees Celsius in here. Issei was rubbing his hands together. Then it must be a side effect of the medicine then. I'm going to go to bed. As he was leaving, Akeno spoke. All alone? Want us to join you? Akeno said, no. Issei replied. He shut her down and went to bed. Akeno was saddened by his refusal. He's still angry, Kiba says. Understandably so, Rosvaisa replied. I miss him. The old him. What have I done? Rias says. What you shouldn't have, Rosvaisa said in her head. Issei is right, though. We need to rest for today. We'll need all the energy we have for tomorrow. Everyone nodded and Rias calmed herself. Konako, however, made way to his room. Konako, where are you going? To help Issei get his life force back. We haven't once had a chance to do it since that day, Konako said. Good idea. It might get rid of that thing. Konako nodded and went to Issei's room and noticed that the door was unlocked. He forgot to lock it, so she went in. She saw him huddled up in a blanket. She climbed on his bed and started using sage arts like before to help him. As she came into contact, she felt his body, which was cold as a corpse. She panicked, thinking that he was dead, and threw the blanket off. Issei, wake up! Don't die! She shook him violently. He out of her instinct, grabbed her by the throat, held her down, with one arm reeled his claws. He pinned her on the bed, but she managed to whisper one thing that brought Issei back. In his senses, it was risky. I have no choice. Harder, Konako said. Issei came to his senses and just looked at her with wide eyes. He slowly let go and kept some distance. Konako, did you just say what I think you said? Konako, now blushing red, tried to deny it, but it was clear that she did it. Maybe, Konako said. And he started immediately laughing. Konako was still blushing red and started to giggle a bit, and then turned to full-blown laughter. I suppose that's one way to save your life. Oh, my ribs. But at least we know what your kink is. I'm so sorry, Konako said. You really need to stay away from Akino, because that was so wrong. Ah, that was so unnatural, Drake said. How do you think I feel? Konako replied. To hear of you all people say that, I don't have the words. At least you're not a pedo, Issei, Drake said. Watch it, Drake. I'm 18, Drake. I'm not petty underage, Konako said. Could have fooled me, Drake said. Konako was getting angry now. She did not like being called a little girl. Issei decided to change the topic. Okay, that's enough, you two. Only Konako. What were you screaming about? Her expression became grim. I thought you were dead. Huh? Issei said. Your body was ice cold when I climbed into your bed. Again, it's a side effect. And why were you in my bed? Issei said. It's been 2 months since our last session. We need to recover the life force you lost. Remember? Issei had no choice but to lie. Oh, has it been that long? Issei says. Yes, I see. That's all you have to say? Konako hugged him tightly. Issei, we miss you. We put you through all this, and now you're sick. You barely speak to us. None of us girls can sleep at night without you being by our side. We're sorry, Issei. We spend the rest of our lives trying to make things right, Konako said. Issei just sat in silence. Konako looked at him and saw his blank expression. She started using her sage arts again. Her output was significantly higher than before. Konako, stop, Issei said. She didn't listen and amplified her magic again. Issei had to stop her. He moved her away and kept her at arm's length. Huh? Konako said. You're wasting your energy, Issei replied. What do you mean? It's not working. It was hardly working before. Then we'll have to take it to the next level. We will use bedroom arts, Konako said. She begins to start to strip. Issei grabs her hands and stops her. Don't even think about it. Why not? Konako said. Because of 2 reasons. Firstly, when you used your sage arts just now, I felt that thing begin to take over. I suppressed it, but it's clear that sage arts won't help. Konako's cat ears dropped down. And the second, as I told you before, if we did that, then it'll be wrong reason. Plus, if you got pregnant, then you'll be at risk, and so will the unborn. Your body isn't ready for that. Better me than you. There will be the other Red Dragon Empress or Empress in the future, but there won't be another you, Issei said. Konako hugged him, and he hugged back. She kept her head on his chest and felt something missing. She lifted up his shirt and saw the black spot with black lines coming from it. It was the spot on his chest, looked like it was hollow. What? What is that? Konako said. That creature had a hole in its chest too. I'm turning into that thing after all, so this appears from time to time. I take this medicine to heal it, and quickly so my organs aren't exposed, Issei said. She touched the spot, and it felt like his chest was caving in on itself. She started to cry after seeing that she was no longer the one who could help restore his life force. Issei fixed his shirt and hugged her. It's okay. I've come to terms with it. Don't blame yourself, Issei says. How could I not? We hurt you, ganged up on you. You fought that thing alone. We didn't do anything, Konako said. If it wasn't for my new queen promotion, then I would be dead, and so would the rest of you be as well. We're alive, and that's all that matters. The thing was ultimate class, and I survived by dumb luck, Issei says. How are you still so kind to us after what we did to you? You nearly killed yourself because of us, Konako said. Because I still love you all, I think, Issei says. You think? Do you not feel any love? Half the time I feel hollow, just hollow. But I enjoyed sharing a laugh. I don't think we ever did that together, Issei said. She started to whimper. Issei tried to comfort her. She wouldn't let it go. They stayed like that for a while. Issei, I'm sorry. We're sorry. I can't help you recover. You relied on me and I failed you. I'm Sorry, Konako said. It's okay, Konako, Issei says. He started to rub her cat ears and uncovered her a little. It's okay. It seems you're getting over what happened day by day, Drake says. I'm not over it. I don't think I ever will be. I still remember. They all felt that day. Right now, I'm numb, but I know what she's feeling. It's feel. At times, Issei said. Drake said. Let's just focus on the game tomorrow. You better take your medicine before the match. Sure, Drake, Issei said. But don't boost its effects. You never got the chills before. If you do it again, then the side effects could be deadly, Drake said. It stopped that thing from taking over, but I get what you're saying. I'll try not to do it again. Only do it if you have to. Yeah, got it, partner. No problem, but tell me, do you really not love any of them? I don't know. To love someone is to give them a power to hurt you. If that is love, then I don't want it, and yet I do. Drake, why am I so desperate for it? It's only natural that you do. You want to have someone by your side, and to be by their side, Drake says. I see, but what do I do about that woman? She still shows up in my dreams, or when that thing takes over to some minor extent, Issei says. Once the raiding game is over, go out there and look for her. You're a free devil, and if you share a connection like you told me, then you'll certainly find her. But don't keep your hopes up. She may not be the kind you're seeking, Drake said. A part of me is cautious, another is yearning for her. I'm trying to ignore it, but it's taxing, Issei says. Rest for now. I know it's only the morning, but still. I'm okay for now, Drake. Besides, I can't move with Konako on my lap. So how does it feel to be able to use magic and teleport? I can finally visit Norway. I love the Northern Lights, Issei said. But not going to check out any gorgeous women there? No, Issei says. Oh no, Drake said. Konako woke up an hour and saw still Issei's rubbing his ears. He was in deep thought, though. She got up. Hey, want to get breakfast? He broke out of his train of thought. Huh? Oh yeah, sure, I could eat. You want pancakes? Issei said. She nodded. The two had pancakes, and the aroma attracted everyone else. They looked and saw Issei making pancakes. Ikki noticed them watching and almost drooling. You guys want some too? They nodded. Sit. They obeyed like puppies. He enough for everyone. As they all eat and converse, Drake spoke up. That smells good. I wonder, Issei said. Huh? Drake said. Issei summons the boosted gear, and everyone looked at him. He held the pancake up in his gauntlet. Transfer, Issei said. Everyone looked in shock. The pancake disappeared after a few seconds. Got any more? That was delicious, Drake said. Everyone laughed a little, and Issei made more pancakes. Drake got to eat after so long. And that is the end of chapter 14. Cliffhanger, cliffhanger. That's where we're going to stop. Suck it. Before everybody leaves, please hit the like button. That'd be highly appreciated. If you guys like all the stupid polls I've been doing around in the chat, that'd be also very nice. Your boy is absolutely exhausted and tired from today. It's only about 1:45, but that's usually when I'm done with all my training and things like that, etc. So, yeah. I go back to school in about 5 days now. Do I want to go back? Absolutely not. Woo! Just kidding. I want to go back for one purpose and one purpose alone. That is for my... No, I'm messing around. I want to go back because I want to win. That's my bad. I need to win. Anyway, I saw a couple people in my comments the other day talking about how distressed they were and some things weren't going up. I want to tell you guys one thing. I know this is going to sound kind of cringe, but I'm going to need you to hear me for a minute, right? There will be a day where you wake up and you finally get sick of just being normal and average. And you will finally start to win. I know it sounds cringe, but that's what happens. It happened to me last summer, and it happened to me in the middle of this summer as well. It's not motivation. It's not discipline. It's obsession. Now, I just want to let everybody know right now. I just want to thank everybody for the support. You know, Issei was being kind of a... These powers got bro messed up a little bit. I can't wait for the fight. That's also going to be pretty entertaining. But hopefully you guys have been enjoying this series. The woman's getting on my spectacle. Is he going to manipulate Issei? Or is she going to be his lover? I think it's the lover, obviously. But who knows? Without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's try to hit 405 likes. Go subscribe to my other channel and follow me on TikTok. And go to my Patreon and become a channel member today. It's only $2.99 if you guys want to pick the lowest tier to see when I upload. I let everybody know when I upload. The other tiers are for shoutouts, etc. So thank you so much for the support, ladies and gentlemen. Without any further ado, Spartanic Arts DxD out.